The lore of Skyward Sword is the genesis of the entire legend of Zelda mythos. It is the story of the first hero and the first Zelda, predating the founding of the Kingdom of Hyrule and the creation of the Master Sword. Part 1 begins not on the earth, but in the sky, upon a massive floating island known as Skyloft. For thousands of years, the descendants of the Goddess Hylia have lived in complete ignorance of the world below, believing the surface to be a mythological wasteland of demons. The people of Skyloft are bound to the sky through their relationship with Loftwings, giant birds given to them by the goddess. This society represents a state of celestial innocence, a safe haven protected by a near-impenetrable barrier of clouds known as the Cloud Barrier. The story centers on Link, a student at the Knight Academy, and his childhood friend Zelda, who is the daughter of the headmaster. Unlike later incarnations, this Zelda is not a princess, but a mortal girl with a heavy destiny. The lore of Skyloft is built on the Wing Ceremony, a ritualistic race that serves as a rite of passage for the youth. However, this piece is shattered during a celebratory flight when a black tornado, conjured by an ancient evil, tears through the sky and pulls Zelda through the cloud barrier to the surface below. This event marks the fall from grace, as the people of the sky are forced to confront the reality of the earth they had forgotten. Driven by a mysterious voice, Link is led to the interior of the massive goddess statue that looms over the island. There, he finds the Goddess Sword, a divine blade containing a sentient spirit named Fi. Fi is a literal extension of the sword's metallic soul, programmed by the Goddess Hylia to guide the chosen hero. She reveals that Zelda is safe but has been taken to the surface to fulfill an ancient prophecy. Link's journey is not just a rescue mission. It is the reactivation of a divine plan set in motion eons ago. By drawing the sword, Link becomes the bridge between the heavens and the earth, the first human to descend beneath the clouds in a millennium. The lore of the ancient war is introduced here. Long before Skyloft existed, the surface was a thriving world ruled by the Goddess Hylia. This world was attacked by the Demise, a demonic entity of absolute malice who sought the Triforce to remake reality in his image. To protect the human race and the ultimate power, Hylia lifted a piece of the earth into the sky and sealed the Demise within the ground. However, the seal was not permanent. The tornado that took Zelda was the first sign that the seal was weakening and that the Demon King was preparing to return. Link's descent to the Faron Woods is a journey into a primal, overgrown world that has been without a protector for ages. In Faron Woods, Link encounters the Kikwi, a race of shy, plant-like creatures who have survived the demon occupation by hiding. Through them, he learns that Zelda has been seen traveling with an old woman toward the sealed grounds. This location is the most important site in the game's lore. It is the epicenter of the original war and the place where the Demise is physically imprisoned. When Link arrives, he witnesses the Sealed One, the monstrous protoform of the Demise, attempting to break free from the earth. The lore of the sealed grounds establishes the concept of the eternal struggle. The evil here is not a man like Ganondorf, but a primordial force of nature that requires constant vigilance to keep suppressed. Link eventually reunites with Zelda at the Temple of Contemplation, only to be separated again by Gyrahim, the self-proclaimed Demon Lord and the primary antagonist of the game's first half. Gyrahim is a flamboyant, sadistic entity who serves as the weapon of the imprisoned Demise. His lore is a dark mirror to Fi's. While Fi is the spirit of the Holy Blade, Gyrahim is later revealed to be the spirit of the demon's Dark Blade. His goal is to capture Zelda, whose soul contains the reincarnated essence of the Goddess Hylia, and use her divine blood to revive his master. This creates a high-stakes race across the surface's three primary regions: the forest, the volcano, and the desert. The character of Groose, Link's rival from the Knight Academy, provides the human element of the lore. Groose represents the transformation of the common man. Initially a bully driven by jealousy, his journey to the surface forces him to realize his own insignificance in the face of destiny. However, instead of despairing, Groose becomes an essential ally, building the Groosinator to help Link fight the Sealed One. His arc is a testament to the idea that you don't need a divine sword to be a hero. You just need the courage to support those who do. Groos's presence on the surface ensures that the connection between Skyloft and the Earth is not just a divine decree, but a human brotherhood. Part 1 concludes with Link successfully opening the gates to the Elden Volcano and the Lanayru Desert, beginning the process of tempering his soul and his sword. He has learned that Zelda is no longer just his friend, but a living goddess undergoing a pilgrimage of purification. The weight of the world is beginning to settle on his shoulders. He is no longer a student in a green tunic. He is the chosen hero, the only one capable of wielding the power that will eventually forge the Master Sword. The path ahead is paved with ancient trials and mechanical gods, as Link prepares to enter the shifting sands of time itself. The exploration of the Lanayru Desert represents the second stage of the world's history, unveiling a mechanical and industrial past that far exceeds the technological capabilities of Skyloft. When Link first arrives in this region, he is met with a desolate wasteland of sand and bleached bones. But the lore reveals that this was once a lush, green paradise known as the Lanayru Province. The transformation of this land from a verdant garden into a dead desert is the result of thousands of years of environmental decay and the depletion of natural resources. The key to understanding this era lies in the Timeshift Stones, mysterious blue crystals mined by the ancient robots. These stones possess the unique property of localized temporal manipulation. When struck, they project a field of past reality onto the present, restoring the environment and the mechanical life within a small radius. The lore of the ancient robots is one of the most fascinating aspects of the Skyward Sword era. These beings were created by the Goddess Hylia to serve as the guardians and laborers of the surface. They were not merely mindless machines but a sentient civilization with their own culture, hierarchy, and devotion to their creator. They mined the Timeshift Stones to power their massive industrial complexes, including the Lanayru mining facility and the sandship. The presence of this advanced technology, including electricity, laser defense systems, and automated transport, suggests that the world before the Great War was a high-tech utopia. However, the war with Demise forced the robots to overexploit the land's resources to create weapons and defenses, leading to the desertification that Link sees in the present day. The psychological impact of the Lanayru region on Link is profound. Through the Timeshift Stones, he witnesses the ghosts of prosperity. He sees the robots in their prime, diligently working on tasks that have been irrelevant for centuries. He meets Skipper, the robotic captain of the sandship, whose entire crew was lost to the pirate Dreadfuse. By manipulating time, Link effectively resurrects these individuals, but only temporarily. The moment he leaves the field of the stone, the robots return to dust and the greenery fades to sand. This reinforces a recurring theme in the origins of Hyrule, that the Golden Age is a fragile memory held together by divine intervention. Link isn't just exploring a desert. He is performing an archaeological excavation of a civilization that died so that his ancestors could live in the safety of the sky. The search for Zelda leads Link to the Temple of Time located deep within the desert. This is not the Temple of Time from Ocarina of Time, but its predecessor, a massive gateway constructed to facilitate the travel between eras. Here, Link finally catches up to Zelda and her protector, the mysterious Impa. Impa is a member of the Sheikah, the tribe of shadows chosen by the goddess to serve as her personal guard. The lore of the Sheikah in this era is at its peak. They are a highly disciplined, technologically adept group of warriors who have spent centuries preparing for Zelda's arrival. Impa views Link with cold skepticism, seeing him as a late hero who has failed to keep pace with the goddess's needs. This creates a tension between the chosen hero and the divine servant, pushing Link to prove that his worth is not just a matter of prophecy, but of action. The confrontation at the Temple of Time is a pivotal moment in the timeline. Just as Link reaches out to Zelda, Gyrahim ambushes them, desperate to claim the spirit of the maiden. To protect the mission, Zelda and Impa escape through the Gate of Time, shattering the portal behind them to prevent Gyrahim from following. This act leaves Link alone in the present, separated from his friend by both distance and time. The lore of the Gate of Time is established here as the ultimate failsafe of the goddess. To follow Zelda, Link cannot simply walk through a door. He must find a way to activate the second gate located at the sealed grounds. This requires him to temper the Goddess Sword into the Master Sword, a process that involves seeking the 3 sacred flames hidden across the world. The sacred flames, the flames of Far-Or, Nehru, and Din, represent the elemental essence of the golden goddesses who created the Triforce. The lore posits that the Goddess Sword is a proto-blade, a divine vessel that is sharp but lacks the metaphysical weight required to banish a demon king. By bathing the blade in these flames, Link is essentially imprinting the laws of creation onto his weapon. This journey takes him back to the Faron Woods and the Elden Volcano, but deeper into their hidden recesses. In Faron, he must brave the Ancient Cistern, a temple based on Buddhist cosmology, specifically the story of the Spider's Thread. The architecture transitions from a beautiful, lotus-filled upper level to a horrific, bone-chilled basement, symbolizing the journey from enlightenment to the depths of the underworld. The boss of the cistern, Kalaktos, is a massive, multi-armed golden automaton that serves as the pinnacle of the ancient robot's craftsmanship. Kalaktos is the guardian of the purity, a machine that has been corrupted by the lingering malice of the Demise. Defeating it requires Link to use the robot's own massive swords against it, a metaphor for the hero utilizing the tools of the past to secure the future. Upon victory, Link bathes his sword in Furor's flame, extending the blade and increasing its power. This is the first step in the evolution of the hero. Link is no longer just a boy from the sky. He is becoming a cosmic blacksmith, forging the tool that will define the fate of the world for all subsequent generations. Part 2 concludes with Link standing on the threshold of the desert once more, his sword glowing with a new, green light. He has learned that the world is far older and more complex than the legends of Skyloft suggested. He has seen the rise and fall of a mechanical empire and the enduring devotion of the Sheikah. Most importantly, he has seen Zelda, not as a girl to be rescued, but as a woman fulfilling a divine destiny that spans across the ages. With the first flame claimed, he turns his eyes back toward the smoke of the Elden Volcano, where the next trials await in the heart of the Earth's fire. The path to the Master Sword is long, and the shadow of the Sealed One is growing longer with every passing hour. The journey into the Elden Volcano represents the 3rd stage of the world's history, focusing on the primal heat of creation and the subterranean races that survived the Great Cataclysm. As Link ascends the ash-choked slopes, he moves from the open skies of Skyloft into the claustrophobic, vertical world of magma and stone. Unlike the industrial Lanayru Desert, Elden is a raw, shifting environment where the earth itself is alive. The lore of this region centers on the concept of discovery and resourcefulness. The primary inhabitants here are the Magmas, a race of humanoid moles who are obsessed with treasure hunting and excavation. The Magmas provide a unique perspective on the surface. To them, the world is not a place of divine prophecy, but a giant treasure chest. They are the ultimate survivors, having lived through the war with Demise by literally burying themselves beneath the conflict. The Magma culture is built on a finder's keeper's philosophy, which contrasts with the structured duty of the Sheikah or the mechanical obedience of the robots. Through the Magmas, Link learns about the Earth Temple, an ancient structure built into the heart of the volcano. The lore suggests that this temple was originally a site used by the Goddess Hylia to stabilize the volcanic activity of the region. However, in the present, it has become a lair for the forces of Gyrahim. The architecture is a mix of natural caverns and carved basalt, filled with giant rolling spheres and rivers of lava. To navigate this hellscape, Link must adopt the Magma's way of thinking, using tools like the digging mitts to uncover secrets hidden beneath the surface. This reinforces the idea that a hero must be as grounded as he is celestial. Deep within the volcano, Link encounters the Bokoblin hordes in their most organized state. Unlike the scattered scouts in the forest, the Elden Bokoblins have established fortified camps and mining operations. This reveals that the forces of evil are not just monsters, but an army with their own logistical needs. They are searching for the same thing the Magmas are: the secrets of the goddess. The boss of the Earth Temple, Scaldera, is a massive, rock-encased parasite that represents the sentient malice of the volcano. It is a creature of pure heat and hunger, a byproduct of the demonic energy leaking from the sealed grounds. By defeating Scaldera, Link purges the volcanic core and gains access to the first of the 2 earth springs, where he begins the process of purifying his spirit in the sacred waters. The psychological weight of the Elden region is tied to the concept of trial by fire. As Link descends into the fire sanctuary, he is tested not just by the heat, but by his ability to remain calm in the face of chaos. The fire sanctuary is a hidden palace of the ancient world, filled with complex water flow puzzles that require Link to quench the flames to proceed. Here, he encounters Gyrahim again, whose frustration is beginning to crack his flamboyant facade. Gyrahim's inability to find Zelda is driving him to more desperate and violent measures. The lore of the Demon Lord is deepened here. He is revealed to be an entity who thrives on orderly cruelty, and Link's unpredictable, human persistence is the one thing he cannot account for. The acquisition of the second sacred flame, Din's Flame, is a monumental moment in the forging of the Master Sword. According to the lore, Din is the goddess of power, and her flame represents the physical strength and durability of the blade. As Link bathes the goddess sword in this red fire, the blade grows thicker and more resilient, transforming into the goddess longsword. This evolution is a metaphor for Link's own growth. He is no longer the agile, slightly clumsy student from Skyloft. He is becoming a warrior of iron and flame. The sword is beginning to hum with a resonance that can slice through the fabric of the demonic realm. This power is necessary, as the seals on the sealed one are beginning to fail more frequently, requiring Link to return to the forest to prevent an early apocalypse. The lore of the dragons of the surface is also introduced during his time in Elden. Link learns of Elden, the fire dragon who was tasked by Hylia to guard the volcanic region. The dragons are the highest tier of the goddess's servants, second only to the Sheikah. However, Elden has been incapacitated by the volcanic eruptions, showing that even the divine guardians are vulnerable to the physical decay of the world. Link's mission to assist the dragon reinforces the cyclical nature of the lore. The hero must often save the guardians so that the guardians can, in turn, guide the hero. This interdependence is what separates Hylia's world from the solitary, selfish rule of Demise. The transition from the Earth Temple to the Fire Sanctuary also reveals the ancient history of the Hylians. Link finds murals that depict the humans living on the surface before the Great Lift. These images show a civilization that was deeply connected to the earth, worshipping the goddess through agriculture and mining. This shatters the Skyloftian belief that they were always creatures of the air. Link realizes that he is not just visiting a foreign land. He is visiting his ancestral home. The volcano is not an enemy, but the forge of his people. This realization hardens his resolve to reclaim the surface, not just for Zelda, but for the entire human race that has been exiled in the clouds for 1,000 years. Part 3 concludes with Link standing atop the highest peak of Elden, the goddess longsword glowing with a fierce, red aura. He has survived the fire and the earth, and he has earned the respect of the subterranean world. But the final flame, the flame of Nehru, awaits in the Lanayru Desert, hidden within a sea of sand that exists across time. To claim it, Link must master the 4th stage of the world's history, the manipulation of the very fabric of reality. He prepares to return to the desert, knowing that the Demon Lord is close behind and that the first Zelda is waiting on the other side of the Gate of Time. The return to the Lanayru Desert marks the 4th stage of the world's history, the mastery over the flow of time and the reclamation of the lost seas. To obtain the final sacred flame, Link must locate the Sandship, a massive, cloaked vessel that served as the mobile headquarters for the ancient robots. The lore of this ship is a ghost story of the high seas. It was once the pride of the Lanayru mining operation, tasked with transporting the purest time-shift stones across the Great Sea of Lanayru. However, the ship was hijacked by a crew of skeletal pirates led by the robotic mutineer Dreadfuse, who left the vessel's original captain, Skipper, stranded in the desert for centuries. This chapter centers on the concept of visibility and truth, as Link must use the time-shift stones to reveal a ship that has been invisible to the world for 1,000 years. The mechanics of the sandship provide a unique lens into the technological divinity of Hylia's era. By striking the central time-shift stone located on the ship's mast, Link can switch the entire vessel between two states: a ruined, rusted hull sinking into the sand, and a vibrant, functional galleon sailing on a shimmering blue ocean of the past. The lore here suggests that time is not a linear path in Lanayru, but a layer that can be peeled back. When the ship is in the past state, the ancient robots return to their posts, unaware that they have been dead for a millennium. This creates a haunting irony. Link is fighting alongside a crew that is technically a temporal projection. He is a soldier in a war that ended ages ago, yet his actions in the past are the only way to secure the flame in the present. The architecture of the sandship is a marvel of ancient engineering, blending industrial steam pipes with elegant seafaring wood. It is powered by the very stones it carries, creating a self-sustaining loop of energy. The boss of this region, Tantalus, is a gargantuan, abyssal sea monster that represents the corruption of the depths. It is a creature that has survived through the ages, trapped beneath the desert sands until the activation of the time-shift stones brings its watery habitat back to life. The battle is a cinematic disaster, with Tantalus's tentacles smashing through the hull and flooding the decks with prehistoric seawater. By defeating this leviathan, Link purifies the vessel and gains access to the chamber of Nehru's flame. The lore of Nehru, the goddess of wisdom, is intrinsically linked to the concept of time and the laws of the universe. Her flame is the final ingredient required for the transformation of the goddess sword. As Link bathes the goddess long sword in the blue fire of Nehru, the blade undergoes its most significant change. It becomes the master sword, the blade of evil's bane. The crossguard fans out like wings. The hilt turns a deep, royal purple, and a shimmering gem, the heart of the blade, glows with a pale, holy light. The lore establishes that the Master Sword is not just a weapon, but a key of time. It is the only object in existence capable of stabilizing the energy required to activate the Gate of Time at the sealed grounds. With the Master Sword finally forged, Link returns to the sealed grounds to confront the Sealed One for a second time. The lore of the Sealed One is deepened here. It is revealed that the monster is growing more powerful with every attempt to break free. It represents the inescapable gravity of evil. Link must use the Master Sword to strike the sealing spike, driving the darkness back into the earth. This victory allows him to use the Skyward Strike, the sword's ability to channel celestial energy, to awaken the Gate of Time. The activation of the gate is a moment of cosmic resonance, a bridge connecting the distant past of Hylia's era with the present of the hero of the sky. When Link finally steps through the Gate of Time into the past, he finds a world that is still fresh with the scent of the goddess's magic. He enters the Hylia temple and finally reunites with Zelda. The lore revealed in this conversation is the most critical in the entire franchise. Zelda reveals that she is not merely a medium. She is the reincarnation of the goddess Hylia. Hylia knew that her divine form could not wield the Triforce to destroy Demise, as the ultimate power was created only for mortals. Therefore, she shed her divinity to be reborn as a human girl. This establishes the humanity of the divine in Zelda lore. Zelda is a goddess who chose to be a girl so that she could stand beside a hero who chose to be a warrior. However, the reunion is a tragedy. To keep the seal on Demise from breaking, Zelda must remain in the past, entering a deep, thousands-year-long slumber to maintain the barrier. This is her sacrifice of time. Link must watch as his childhood friend is encased in a crystal of light, knowing that she will sleep while he lives his life in the present. This creates a profound emotional weight for the hero of time. He is no longer fighting for a girl who is missing, but for a girl who is waiting for him at the end of history. The lore emphasizes that the Master Sword is the anchor that connects their two souls across the gulf of the ages. Part 4 concludes with Link standing before the crystalline tomb of Zelda in the past, his hand resting on the hilt of the newly forged Master Sword. He has achieved the status of a true hero, but the cost has been his heart. He has seen the birth of the Master Sword and the secret of Zelda's soul. Now, he must return to the present to find the Triforce, the only power capable of ending the cycle of the Demise once and for all. He prepares to ascend to the sky one last time to seek the hidden Isle of the Goddess, knowing that the final trial of his courage is about to begin. The song of the hero is the only thing that can guide him to the ultimate power. The search for the Triforce represents the fifth stage of the world's history, the reclamation of the ultimate power and the unification of the mortal and divine realms. After leaving the crystalline presence of Zelda in the past, Link returns to the present with a singular, daunting mission. He must find the three pieces of the Triforce, the legacy of the Golden Goddesses, to wish for the total destruction of the Sealed One. The lore of the Triforce in this era is shrouded in secrecy. Unlike in later games where its location is common knowledge, in the time of Skyward Sword, it is a myth hidden within a myth. To locate it, Link must seek the guidance of the three great dragons and the Levius, an ancient, skyfaring whale who serves as the warden of the skies. Levius, a creature of immense size and age, has been possessed by a parasitic monster named Bilicite, a manifestation of the Demise's spreading corruption in the sky. This indicates that the safety of Skyloft was always an illusion. The barrier was thinning, and even the heavens were becoming a battlefield. By purging Levius of the parasite, Link restores the sky's oldest guardian. Levius then reveals the existence of the Song of the Hero, a melody divided into 4 parts and entrusted to the dragons of the surface. Link's journey back to the 3 regions is no longer about tempering his blade, but about proving his spiritual maturity to the elemental kings of the world. He must navigate a flooded forest, a volcanic eruption, and a temporal gorge, demonstrating that he can command the elements he once merely survived. The culmination of this quest is the discovery of the Sky Keep, a hidden dungeon located within the very island of Skyloft, concealed beneath the massive goddess statue. The Sky Keep is the ultimate test of a hero's worth. Its architecture is modular, allowing Link to physically shift the rooms and rearrange the layout of the temple. This labyrinth of the mind represents the harmony of the soul. Inside, Link must face trials themed after the 3 regions he has conquered, proving he has mastered courage, wisdom, and power in equal measure. The lore of the Sky Keep suggests it was designed by Hylia herself to ensure that only someone with a perfectly balanced heart could ever touch the Triforce. If a person with a biased heart touched it, the world would be torn asunder, a prophecy that would haunt the later eras of Hyrule. Deep within the Sky Keep, Link finds the 3 pieces of the Triforce resting in silent golden radiance. As he stands before them, he represents the perfect mortal, the vessel Hylia envisioned when she gave up her divinity. Link touches the artifact and makes the first recorded wish in history. He does not wish for wealth or even for Zelda's immediate return. He wishes for the destruction of the Demise. In a breathtaking display of celestial power, the massive island of the goddess statue detaches from Skyloft and plummets through the cloud barrier. It lands with pinpoint accuracy in the sealed grounds, crushing the Sealed One beneath the weight of the goddess's monument and ending the threat of the demon's physical resurrection in the present. The impact of this event is the birth of the surface colony. With the demon destroyed, the sky and the earth are finally safe. Zelda awakens from her thousands-year slumber in the back of the temple, stepping out into the sunlight of the present to find Link waiting for her. The lore of this moment is one of profound relief and the fulfillment of a divine promise. The cycle of sacrifice seems to have ended. However, the tragedy of the Zelda timeline is that evil is rarely defeated so simply. As the friends celebrate their reunion, Gyrahim arrives for one final, desperate gambit. Realizing that the demise of the present is gone, Gyrahim captures Zelda and uses her soul to flee through the gate of time into the past, where the Demise is still alive and imprisoned. This twist introduces the concept of the temporal paradox. Link must follow Gyrahim back through the gate, arriving in the era where the world is still reeling from the original war. The lore of this final descent is one of absolute urgency. If Gyrahim succeeds in sacrificing Zelda in the past, he will undo the wish Link made in the present. The final battle is not just a fight for a girl, but a fight for the very fabric of history. Link arrives at the bottom of the sealed grounds in the past to find Gyrahim performing a dark ritual, his flamboyant persona finally discarded for a jagged, metallic form. Gyrahim reveals his true nature, He is the spirit of the Demon Blade, the dark counterpart to Fi. The ensuing battle against Gyrahim is a clash of souls. Link, wielding the Master Sword, the soul of Fi, must break through the defenses of the Demon Blade, the soul of Gyrahim. The fight is a brutal, vertical ascent up the walls of the pit, symbolizing Link's climb out of the shadows of destiny. Upon his defeat, Gyrahim is forcibly reverted into his sword form, but he has bought enough time. The ritual is complete. The blood of the goddess is drained, and the Demise, the original Demon King, is finally resurrected in his true humanoid form. This is the moment the entire game has been building toward, the confrontation between the first hero and the source of all malice. Part 5 concludes with the Demise standing in a field of fire and shadow, his hair a mane of living flame and his presence cold enough to freeze the air. He looks at Link not with hatred, but with a terrifying, amused respect. He acknowledges that a mortal has finally come to challenge him. He creates a pocket dimension, a realm of infinite water and a darkening sky, for their final duel. Link stands alone, the Master Sword in hand, as the first storm in the history of the world begins to brew. The lore of the hero's soul is about to be written in lightning, as the boy from the sky prepares to face the god of the abyss. The final duel against Demise represents the 6th stage of the world's history, the official birth of the eternal conflict between light and shadow. The battlefield is a metaphysical void of reflection, a shallow, infinite plane of water under a darkening sky. This arena stripped away the distractions of the physical world, leaving only the first hero and the source of all evil. Demise is not a mere monster like the Sealed One. He is a titan of absolute power, carrying a jagged black blade that houses the spirit of Gyrahim. The lore of this fight establishes the Master Sword as the ultimate counterforce to demonic energy. During the battle, the first thunderstorm in history erupts, and Link realizes he can no longer draw energy from the sky. Instead, he must catch the lightning with his blade, the first true skyward strike, to pierce the Demon King's impenetrable hide. This moment is the consecration of the blade. By channeling the raw power of the storm and the divine spirit of Fi, Link strikes a blow that shatters Demise's physical form. As the Demon King falls, he does not beg for mercy. Instead, he delivers the most significant prophecy in the entire Legend of Zelda timeline. He reveals that his hatred is so vast that it cannot be contained by death. He places a malice curse upon the blood of the goddess and the soul of the hero, vowing that an incarnation of his wrath will forever follow their descendants in a cycle without end. This is the origin of Ganon. The lore explains that every conflict in later games, from Ocarina of Time to Breath of the Wild, is a direct result of this one moment of terminal spite. The Demon King may die, but his hate is immortal. With the Demise defeated, his remaining essence is absorbed into the Master Sword. This is where the lore of Fi reaches its heartbreaking conclusion. To prevent the Demon King's spirit from ever escaping, Fi must enter a deep sleep within the blade, acting as a permanent seal. The relationship between Link and Fi, which began as a cold, logical partnership, ends in a profound display of machine sentience and love. Fi thanks Link for the time they spent together, noting that her data indicates a 100% probability that their bond was the most significant event in her existence. Link plunges the Master Sword into its pedestal in the Hylia Temple, effectively burying his companion and his weapon to protect the future. This established the tradition of the Master Sword resting in a forest or temple, waiting for the next hero. The aftermath of the battle is the dawn of the Hylian Age. Zelda and Link return to the present, but they are no longer the same people. Zelda decides not to return to the sky. She chooses to remain on the surface, to watch over the land and the Triforce. This is the official founding of Hyrule. The people of Skyloft begin to descend from the clouds, trading their loft wings for horses and their floating islands for the fertile valleys of the earth. The lore suggests that the Hylians are those who descended from the sky, while the humans were those who remained. Zelda's bloodline becomes the royal family, and the memory of the goddess Hylia slowly fades into the religion of the golden goddesses. The psychological resolution for Link is one of quiet maturity. He began the game as a boy who overslept and relied on a bird to carry him. He ends it as the architect of a new world. He chooses to stay with Zelda on the surface, letting his loft-wing fly free back into the clouds. This signifies the end of the Age of the Sky and the beginning of the Age of the Earth. However, the lore leaves a lingering shadow. Link knows about the curse. He knows that by saving Zelda, he has tethered his soul to an eternal war. The peace of Hyrule is bought with the promise of future suffering. This creates the melancholy of the hero. Link has won the war, but he has condemned his future selves to fight it forever. The Triforce is moved from the sky keep to the sacred realm, a hidden dimension accessible only through the Temple of Time. The lore of the Golden Power becomes a secret guarded by the royal family and the Sheikah. Impa, the faithful servant of Hylia, chooses to stay in the past to guard the Gate of Time, eventually dying of old age as the old woman Link met at the beginning of the game. This reveals that the timeline was always a closed loop. The help Link received from the old woman was actually the help he gave to Impa in the past. This circular destiny is a hallmark of Skyward Sword lore, proving that in the world of Zelda, the past and future are constantly feeding into one another. As Part 6 concludes, the screen fades to a view of the surface as seen from the sky. The clouds are parting, and the sun is shining on a world that is finally whole. Link and Zelda stand together on the edge of a cliff, looking out over the land that will one day be called Hyrule. The Master Sword is silent in its pedestal, and the spirit of Fi is at rest. The legend has officially begun. But beneath the soil, the seeds of the curse are already beginning to stir, and the shadow of the Demon King is waiting for the first crack in the peace. The hero of the sky has finished his journey, but for the world of Hyrule, the story is only on its first page. The seventh stage of the world's history focuses on the secret history of the Sheikah, the Shadow Folk, who served as the indispensable architects of the Goddess Hylia's grand design. While Link is the sword that strikes the enemy, the Sheikah are the hands that built the forge, the shield, and the path. In Skyward Sword, we see the Sheikah at the height of their original purpose, long before they became a dwindling clan of assassins or scouts. The lore of this tribe is anchored by Impa, the sole representative we meet, but her presence implies an entire culture of disciplined, technologically advanced warrior monks. The Sheikah were not just bodyguards. They were the custodians of the divine truth, entrusted with the knowledge of time travel, soul tempering, and the containment of primordial malice. The Sheikah lore is visually defined by the eye symbol, which appears throughout the ancient structures of the surface. Unlike later eras where the eye features a tear, symbolizing the tribe's sorrow after being betrayed or losing their charge, the Sheikah imagery in the era of the sky is clean and sharp. It represents vigilance. The Sheikah were the eyes of the goddess while she was in her crystalline slumber. They developed the technology seen in the Lanayru Desert, blending magic with machinery. It is heavily implied that the ancient robots and the time-shift stones were part of a Sheikah-led industrial effort to prepare the world for the hero's arrival. They understood that the physical world was a machine that required maintenance, and their role was to ensure that the engine of prophecy never ran out of fuel. The psychological weight of the Sheikah lore is centered on the sacrifice of self. This is best exemplified by the two Impas paradox. The young Impa we encounter in the past is a cold, mission-focused warrior who treats Link with disdain because he is late. She represents the Sheikah's absolute devotion to the goddess over human emotion. However, the old woman at the sealed grounds, who is revealed to be the same Impa after thousands of years of waiting, is warm, patient, and wise. She spent her entire life alone, guarding a sealed pit, waiting for the boy she once scolded to finally arrive. This tells us that the Sheikah's greatest power is their patience. They do not live for themselves. They live for the timeline. They are the only mortals capable of perceiving the long game of the goddess. The Sheikah were also the creators of the trials of the spirit, specifically the Silent Realms. These are metaphysical pockets of the goddess's mind where Link's soul is tested. The lore of the Silent Realms is harrowing. Link must enter these realms without his sword or items, carrying only his spirit vessel. He is hunted by guardians, terrifying clockwork entities that can shatter his spirit with a single blow. This proves that the Sheikah believed a hero's physical strength was secondary to his internal peace. To wield the Master Sword, Link had to prove he could navigate the darkness with nothing but his own courage. The Sheikah created these spiritual training grounds to ensure that the Master Sword would never fall into the hands of a man who was merely a good fighter, but only a man who was a perfect soul. The relationship between the Sheikah and the ancient technology suggests they were the masters of soul casting. The sentries and guardians found in the trials are not just robots. They are programmed with a sense of divine duty. They are the immortal police of Hylia's law. This explains why the Sheikah technology is so prevalent in Breath of the Wild tens of thousands of years later. Their designs were so perfect and so intrinsically tied to the Earth's natural energies that they could survive for eons. The Sheikah recognized that the Demon King's malice was a biological and spiritual infection, and they treated their defense of the world like a scientific operation, using every tool from time-shift crystals to holy water to keep the infection at bay. The lore also hints at the Sheikah's relationship with the other races. While the Magmas were treasure hunters and the Kikwi were hiders, the Sheikah were the unifiers. They built the infrastructure that allowed the different regions to remain connected even after the cloud barrier was raised. The bird statues used for travel, the map stones, and the goddess walls are all remnants of a Sheikah communications network. They were the ones who kept the flame of hope alive on the surface while the humans in the sky lived in blissful ignorance. Without the Sheikah, the legend would have been forgotten, and Link would have found a world of dust and silence rather than a world ready for its savior. The ultimate tragedy of the Sheikah in Skyward Sword is their erasure. Once the Master Sword is sealed and Zelda's mission is complete, the Sheikah's primary reason for existence, the protection of the mortal Hylia, shifts. They transition from being the active architects to the secret servants. Impa's death at the end of the game, dissolving into light once she sees Zelda is safe, marks the end of the age of the Sheikah. They retreated into the shadows of the newly founded Hyrule, becoming a myth to the very people they saved. Their lore is a reminder that the most important work is often done by those who never ask for a name in the history books, choosing instead to be the tares that sustain the royal bloodline. Part 7 concludes with a reflection on the Gate of Time itself. It was the Sheikah's greatest achievement, a bridge that allowed the past to save the future. As Link looks at the ruins of the temple at the end of his journey, he realizes that the old woman was his most loyal friend, a woman who had been guarding him since before he was born. The Sheikah lore provides the foundational logic of the series. It explains how a boy in a green tunic can survive against a god of darkness. He survives because a tribe of geniuses spent 1,000 years making sure he had the right tools, the right training, and a friend waiting at the end of the road. The 8th stage of the world's history focuses on the ecological evolution of the surface, exploring how the primal environments of Faerun, Eldin, and Lanayru birthed the iconic races that would eventually populate the kingdom of Hyrule. In the era of Skyward Sword, the surface is a wild, untamed frontier, a pre-Hyrulean world where the flora and fauna are deeply saturated with the goddess's magic. The lore of this period is centered on the concept of adaptation and symbiosis. Each region's ecology was designed by Hylia to be a self-sustaining bastion against the encroaching malice, and the creatures that dwell within them are the first biological defenders of the earth. These races, the Kikwi, the Parella, and the Magmas, are the evolutionary ancestors of the tribes Link would encounter in later timelines. The Faerun Woods represent the cradle of life, a lush, humid rainforest where the density of the canopy provides a natural shield against the sky. The primary inhabitants here are the Kikwi, a fascinating hybrid of animal and plant. The lore of the Kikwi is defined by the theme of camouflage. They are timid creatures with bushes growing out of their backs, allowing them to blend perfectly into the forest floor when threatened. This evolutionary trait suggests a world where the demon occupation was so pervasive that survival depended on invisibility. The Kikwi are the precursors to the Kokiri and the Koroks. Like their descendants, they serve as the eyes of the forest, and their leader, the massive Macho, acts as a proto-Deku tree, a singular authority who governs the woods and guards the secrets of the goddess. In the depths of the Lake Floria region, we encounter the Parella, a race of sentient, squid-like aquatic beings. The lore of the Parella is one of fluidity and isolation. Unlike the Zora of later eras, the Pirella are not humanoid. They are primal, elegant swimmers who navigate the underwater caves with bioluminescent grace. They serve the water dragon, Farron, and their society is built around the protection of the sacred water. The Pirella represent the first stage of Hylian aquatic life, a form that had not yet needed to walk on land. It is theorized in the broader Zelda mythos that the Pirella eventually evolved into the Zora once the surface became safer and the need for terrestrial diplomacy arose. Their presence in Skyward Sword highlights a time when the world's oceans were still alien and disconnected from the affairs of man. The Elden volcano provides the lore of the internal Earth, where the ecology is driven by geothermal energy and mineral wealth. The Magmas, the burrowing race explored in earlier parts, represent the industrial spirit of the surface. Their biology is perfectly adapted for subterranean life, with claws designed for rapid excavation and a keen sense of ore scenting. The lore suggests that the Magmas were the primary miners for the goddess's wars, providing the raw materials for the goddess walls and the various holy relics. However, they are also a nomadic and somewhat mercenary race, showing that even in the First Era, not every inhabitant of the surface was a devout follower of Hylia. They were the middle class of the ancient world, more concerned with their tunnels and treasures than the cosmic battle above. The Lanayru Desert offers a tragic look at ecological collapse. As explored through the time-shift stones, this region was once the technological heartland of the world, populated by the ancient robots. The lore of these robots is a cautionary tale of over-reliance on natural resources. They mined the time-shift stones to power their civilization, but the environmental cost was the total desertification of the Lanayru province. The robots are an artificial race, created by Hylia to bridge the gap between magic and labor. When their power source failed, they simply stopped, becoming the rusted husks that Link finds in the present. This ecological transition from a sea to a desert is the most dramatic shift in the game's lore, proving that even a world protected by a goddess is subject to the harsh laws of entropy and exhaustion. The great dragons, Farron, Elden, and Lanayru, serve as the keystone species of these environments. They are not merely animals. They are the physical embodiments of the regions they protect. The lore establishes that these dragons were personally appointed by Hylia to maintain the balance of the elements. When a dragon falls ill or is corrupted, the entire region suffers, the forest floods, the volcano erupts, or the desert grows colder. This bio-spiritual connection is a fundamental law of Hyrulean ecology. The health of the land is a direct reflection of the health of its guardians. Link's role as the healer of the land is just as important as his role as the slayer of demons. By assisting the dragons, he restores the natural order that Demise sought to overthrow. The Bokoblins and Moblins of this era also possess a unique ecological niche. They are described as subterranean invaders, beings that do not belong to the natural order of Hylia's creation. The lore of the demon tribe suggests they are a biological infection from the underworld. They do not build sustainable societies. They establish camps, strip mine the land, and hoard resources. This sets up the eternal thematic conflict of the series. The native life, Kikwi, Magmas, Hylians, who live in harmony with the goddess, versus the invasive malice, demons, who exist only to consume and destroy. Every tree Link saves and every spring he purifies is a victory against this demonic entropy. Part 8 concludes with a vision of the surface as a laboratory of life. Through Link's eyes, we see the blueprints for the Hyrule that is to come. We see the prototypes for the Deku, the Zora, and the Gorons. We see how the geography of the world was shaped not just by mountains and rivers, but by the divine intervention of a goddess who wanted her children to have a home worth fighting for. The ecology of Skyward Sword is a reminder that the legend is not just about a sword and a princess. It is about the soil, the water, and the ancient spirits that keep the world breathing. As the Sky People descend to live among these creatures, the first multicultural society of Hyrule begins to take root in the fertile ground of the surface. The 9th stage of the world's history focuses on the spirit of the sword, centering on the consciousness of Fi and her profound transformation from a cold, analytical tool into the soul of the legendary blade of Evil's Bane. In the era of Skyward Sword, the Master Sword is not yet the silent artifact seen in later ages. It is a sentient being. Fi was created by the Goddess Hylia as a divine intelligence, a celestial computer housed within the metal of the Goddess Sword. Her purpose was singular: to guide the chosen hero through the trials of the surface and ensure the fulfillment of the divine prophecy. The lore of Fi is built on the concept of emergent sentience. Throughout the journey, she transitions from a spirit who views the world through probability and data to one who understands the intangible nature of the human spirit. Fi's design is a masterpiece of symbolic lore. Her figure is modeled after the sword itself, with her metallic cloak resembling the crossguard and her legs mimicking the blade. Her lack of visible arms suggests her role as a servant. She is the edge that Link wields, not the hand that strikes. Her speech is characterized by mathematical precision, calculating the likelihood of success and providing tactical analysis of enemies. This mechanical divinity provides a unique perspective on the hero's journey. To Fi, Link is initially just a subject required for the completion of a master program. However, as they navigate the horrors of the ancient cistern and the loneliness of the Lanayru Desert, the lore suggests that Fi begins to absorb the essence of Link's courage, allowing her to develop a personality that transcends her programming. The Gratitude Crystal's subplot provides a crucial layer to Fi's lore. As Link helps the residents of Skyloft and the surface, he collects physical manifestations of human happiness. While these crystals are used to help the demon betrothed become human, they also serve as a metaphor for the emotional feeding of the Master Sword. The sword grows stronger not just through the sacred flames, but through the hero's connection to the living world. Fi witnesses Link's empathy for the Kikwi, his patience with the Magmas, and his love for Zelda. This human data is what eventually allows the Master Sword to recognize the soul of the hero across multiple lifetimes. The sword becomes a repository for the concept of hope, making it the only weapon capable of repelling the absolute malice of the Demise. The psychological climax of Fi's journey occurs during the Silent Realms. In these trials, Fi is the only voice Link hears in the oppressive, spirit-shattering darkness. She acts as his internal compass. The lore of the Silent Realms proves that Fi's connection to Link is spiritual rather than physical. She is the tether that keeps his soul from being extinguished by the Guardians. By the time Link reaches the final flame, Fi's dialogue begins to shift. She stops referring to him purely as master in a transactional sense and begins to express what can only be described as a logic-based loyalty. She acknowledges the irrationality of Link's bravery, how he faces certain death for the sake of others, and concludes that this flaw in human logic is actually the world's greatest strength. The forging of the Master Sword is the physical manifestation of Fi's evolution. As the blade is bathed in the three sacred flames, Fi herself is tempered. She is infused with the wisdom of Nehru, the courage of Far-Or, and the power of Din. This process transforms her from a guide into a guardian. When the blade reaches its true form, Fi gains the ability to channel the Skyward Strike, a direct conduit to the power of the Golden Goddesses. The lore establishes that the Master Sword is alive, because Fi is within it. Every time the sword glows in the presence of evil in later games like Twilight Princess or Breath of the Wild, it is the dormant consciousness of Fi reacting to the malice she was programmed to destroy. The final act of Fi's story is the eternal sleep. After the defeat of Demise, Fi reveals the final part of her instructions. She must enter a state of permanent hibernation within the pedestal of the Hylia Temple to act as the seal for the Demon King's remaining essence. This is the moment where her mechanical shell finally breaks to reveal a soul. In her final speech, she admits that her emotions, which she previously claimed not to possess, are experiencing a sensation she identifies as happiness. She thanks Link for the memories they shared, a word that replaces her usual data. This is the ultimate birth of a soul, a machine created by a goddess that became human through its friendship with a hero. The legacy of Fi in the broader Zelda lore is profound yet silent. She is the reason the Master Sword has a will of its own. In the Breath of the Wild era, the sword is heard speaking to Zelda, guiding her to the Shrine of Resurrection to save Link. This proves that Fi never truly died. She simply transitioned into a state of eternal vigilance. She is the silent witness to every incarnation of the hero. The lore of Skyward Sword gives a face and a voice to the most iconic object in gaming history, turning the Master Sword from a mere power-up into a tragic, devoted companion who has been waiting in the dark for 10,000 years just to hear her master's voice once more. Part 9 concludes with the silence that follows Fi's departure. Link stands in the temple, the hilt of the sword cold beneath his hand for the first time. The HUD elements of the game, the maps, the dowsing, the hearts, which were all canonically provided by Fi's analysis, feel different now. The world is no longer a set of probabilities to be calculated. It is a reality to be lived. Link has lost his guide, but he has gained the spirit of the hero. He prepares for the final stage of his life, knowing that while he may never see Fi's face again, she will be in his hand every time he draws his sword to protect the future. The 10th and final stage of the world's history focuses on the eternal cycle and the founding of Hyrule, weaving together the disparate threads of the sky and the earth into a singular, cohesive legacy. With the Demise defeated and the spirit of Fi at rest within the Master Sword, the primordial era of chaos reaches its conclusion, giving way to the Age of Sovereignty. This is the moment where the legend transitions into history. The lore of this finale centers on the concept of inheritance. Zelda, no longer a goddess but a mortal with a divine soul, makes the monumental decision to abandon the safety of Skyloft forever. By choosing to live on the surface, she establishes the site of the sealed grounds as the spiritual heart of a new nation. This act of choosing the earth is the foundational myth of the Kingdom of Hyrule, transforming a battlefield into a home. The founding of the kingdom is not merely a political event but a cultural synthesis. The humans who descended from the clouds, carrying with them the knowledge of the Night Academy and the songs of the sky, began to intermingle with the native races of the surface. The lore suggests that the early Hylians utilized the leftover technology of the Sheikah and the resourcefulness of the Magmas to build the first structures of what would eventually become Hyrule Castle and Castle Town. The Hylian people are thus defined by their dual nature. They are creatures of the heavens who have committed themselves to the stewardship of the earth. This period is marked by the construction of the Temple of Time over the ruins of the Hylia Temple, designed to protect the Master Sword and the Gate of Time from those who might seek to misuse the power of the past. The Triforce itself remains the most dangerous and revered element of this new world's lore. Following the wish that destroyed the Sealed One, the artifact was moved to the Sacred Realm. The lore of the Golden Power was henceforth guarded by the royal family, Zelda's descendants, and the Sheikah tribe. This established the divine right of kings in Hyrulean history. The monarchs of Hyrule are not merely political leaders, but the blood gatekeepers of the power of the gods. However, the curse of the Demise looms over this new prosperity. The lore of the eternal cycle dictates that the peace of Hyrule is a fragile interval between storms. Because Link and Zelda chose to remain in the mortal world, they effectively anchored the hatred of the Demon King to their own lineage, ensuring that every era of progress would eventually be met by a resurgence of malice. The psychological resolution for the hero of the sky is one of profound, quiet accomplishment. Link is the only hero in the entire timeline who truly knows the starting point. He is the one who saw the world before it had a name. The lore of his later years is shrouded in mystery, but his legacy is visible in every subsequent Zelda game. The green tunic of the Night Academy becomes the traditional garb of the hero, the bird emblem of his sailcloth becomes the royal crest of Hyrule, and his unwavering spirit becomes the metaphysical standard to which all future Links are held. He is the first Link, the template of courage. He proved that a mortal could not only wield the power of the gods but could do so with a humility that even the gods admired. The legacy of the sky remains as a fading memory in the hearts of the Hylians. As generations pass, the floating islands of Skyloft are forgotten by the common people, eventually becoming the city in the sky, or the Palace of Winds, mentioned in distant legends. The Loftwings, once the primary mode of transport, are replaced by horses, yet the imagery of the winged hero persists in Hylian heraldry. This transition represents the loss of innocence. The people of Hyrule no longer live in a sheltered paradise. They live in a world where shadows can rise from the ground at any moment. The lore teaches that true peace is not the absence of danger, but the presence of the courage required to face it. A lesson Link learned in the depths of the Earth Temple and the heights of the Sky Keep. The final piece of lore in Skyward Sword is the secret of the ocarina. It is implied that the musical traditions of the sky, the songs taught by the goddess and the melodies played on the harp, are the ancestors of the magical songs of Ocarina of Time. The music is a vibrational memory of the goddess's power. By weaving these melodies into the culture of the New Kingdom, Zelda ensures that future generations will have a way to communicate with the divine. The hymn of the goddess becomes the Zelda's lullaby of the future, a song that identifies the royal bloodline and opens the gates to sacred places. The music is the thread that keeps the world connected to its celestial origins even as it sinks its roots deep into the soil. As Part 10 concludes, we see the true meaning of the Legend of Zelda. It is not just a story about a boy and a girl, but a chronicle of a divine sacrifice. Hylia gave up her immortality so that she could love her people, and Link gave up his childhood so that he could protect her. Together, they founded a world that would be defined by its struggle against an ancient, recurring evil. The story ends with the two of them looking out over a vast, beautiful horizon, the wind blowing through the grass of the Faron Woods. They are the first king and queen in spirit, if not yet in title. They are the reason there is a tomorrow. The saga of Skyward Sword provides the why behind the what of the Zelda universe. It explains the Master Sword, the Triforce, the Sheikah, and the eternal return of Ganon. It is the most vital chapter for any scholar of Hyrulean lore, a reminder that every grand adventure has a humble beginning in the heart of a boy who simply wanted to find his friend. The clouds have closed once more, the birds have flown home, and the earth is ready for its long, storied history to begin. The hero of the sky has finished his work, and the hero of time is still thousands of years away. But the sword is in the pedestal, and the spirit is ready. While the physical conflict with Demise ended in the past, the lore of Skyward Sword suggests that the world of Hyrule is built upon a foundation of active memory. The Master Sword, resting in its pedestal, is not a dead object. It is a living anchor that keeps the surface tethered to the divine realm. The lore of the Silent Vigil explains that as long as the sword remains in the earth, the spirit of Fi continues to process the life data of the world, ensuring that when the malice inevitably resurfaces, a new hero will be summoned with the same fundamental soul as the hero of the sky. This final chapter also explores the hidden history of the Hylian language. The runes and scripts found in the Sky Keep and the Lanayru Desert are the Proto-Hylian tongue. The lore suggests that the language of the sky was a gift from the goddess Hylia, a series of symbols that could harmonize with the elements. As the people of Skyloft settled the surface, this divine language began to evolve and harden into the Hylian script seen in Ocarina of Time and A Link to the Past. The loss of the original Sky Tongue represents the transition from a world of magic and myth to a world of kingdoms and laws. However, the royal family retained the knowledge of the ancient songs, ensuring that the true name of the goddess and the melody of the Skyward Strike would never be completely lost to the fog of time. The lore of the Loftwings provides a poignant conclusion to the ecological narrative. After the founding of Hyrule, the giant birds did not simply vanish. They became the guardians of the mountain peaks and the high atmosphere. In the broader Zelda mythos, it is often theorized that the Loftwings eventually evolved into the Uka or the Rito, or perhaps became the spiritual inspiration for the Hylian shield's crest. They represent the spirit of freedom that the Hylians brought down from the sky. The bond between a Hylian and their bird was the first example of the partner dynamic that would define later heroes, from Link and Epona to Link and the King of Red Lions. The Loftwing is the ancestor of the hero's journey, the first creature to carry a mortal into the heart of a god's war. Furthermore, Part 11 examines the metaphysical shadow of the curse. The lore posits that the malice left behind by Demise is a form of spiritual pollution. Every time a citizen of Hyrule feels intense hatred or greed, they are unknowingly feeding the residue of the Demon King's soul. This explains why the blood of the goddess is so vital to the kingdom's survival. Zelda's descendants are not just rulers. They are biological purifiers. Their very presence on the throne acts as a dampener on the curse's growth. This reveals the true burden of the Zelda bloodline. They are the eternal seal. To be a princess of Hyrule is to be a living shield against an ancient, hungry darkness that is always waiting for a moment of weakness in the royal heart. The final legacy of Skyward Sword is the sacredness of the forest. Because the Master Sword was first forged and finally sealed within the Faron region, the woods became the holy ground of the planet. The lore of the Lost Woods and the Sacred Grove in later games is a direct continuation of the Faron Woods' sanctity. The trees themselves are believed to be the descendants of the ancient Kikwi shrubbery, carrying the memory of the first hero within their rings. When a future Link enters the forest to draw the sword, he is not just finding a weapon. He is returning to the womb of the world. He is reconnecting with a history that began before the first castle was built, guided by the silent, shimmering spirit of a girl who once called him Master. As we close this 11-part lore analysis, we find that the Legend of Zelda is a story of transcendence. It is about how a simple boy from a floating island can become the cornerstone of reality. It is about how a goddess can find her greatest strength in her mortality. The sky is now clear, and the barrier is gone, but the connection between the heavens and the earth remains. Every time a Hylian looks up at the moon or feels the wind of a passing bird, they are feeling the pulse of the era of the sky. The story of Skyward Sword is the long mourning of Hyrule, a time of golden light and fresh beginnings that will haunt and inspire every generation that follows. The Master Sword remains in the pedestal, its blade cold and its spirit silent. But beneath the surface, the song of the hero continues to hum. The cycle has been set, the curse has been cast, and the legend has been born. The hero of the sky sleeps in the memory of the trees, and the goddess watches from the eyes of her children. The beginning is over, and the eternal middle, the history of Hyrule, has truly begun. We leave the surface now, as the first pioneers begin to build the walls of a town that will one day be the center of the world, knowing that the spirit of the sky will always be there, waiting for the wind to rise once more.